Pitbull, don't stop the party here on Blogs on Balls. Short momentous moment that, the first time we've ever had Pitbull. That was the first
That is
Pitbull
the
song.
first Pitbull song.
It'll be the last as well. I don't care for his music much, but I thought that was quite nice for our Tuesday morning. Station manager Simon Hill, he does concur. Either that or he just opened a mail where it says not safe for office. Anyway, Sport Billy, you here with us?
I'm here with you guys. How's everyone?
Yeah, good.
thank you, Billy.
Right, you've been giving me some stick all morning about my comments. What, out with it?
No, man. I mean, how can you go on air saying the Bulls have been the best looking side to watch this year?
I didn't say this year. I said when in full flow, there is no better looking South African side than the Bulls with ball in hand. If you're going to misquote me, well, it's difficult to have an argument.
No. I think we might have to go back on the recording there, but I still disagree with you.
Yeah, you can call TMO on me all you want, son.
A team that's had Morné Steyn in it for about the last 10 years. Yeah.
Sean, did I not reference their thunderous 2009 Super 14 win in the final against the Chiefs to back up my statement?
Yeah, we did that one. I think we prefaced it with when they're in the mood to spring it as well.
Yeah,
that
sure.
was part of where I started the debate. Is when they're in the mood to swing it,
Yeah.
they can get it down the line lovely.
Brutal, yes, but exciting, no.
Okay, well, talking about exciting, we are going on to our segment, the Icon of the Week and the Sport Willie of the Week. Of course, Sport Willie is Sport Billy's sort of claim to fame here on the show. Sean and I normally take the Icon. Sean, it's always, when you look at like great achievements in sport, that's especially team sport, singling out individuals is very tough. So this week, what I would like to do is give the Icon Award to someone who is perhaps behind the scenes, not quite as glamorous, definitely doesn't have as much hair as the players who get all the sort of plaudits are. I'm going to nominate Naka Drotsky for what he's done with the Cheetahs this year so far.
I think that's fair. I think, and the fact that we haven't nominated Drosky up to this point,
Yeah.
I think winning in the Shark Tank.
Like,
that's
I don't
gonna be
think
up
many
there.
people have nominated Naka for anything, really, in these sort of things. Maybe
Well,
a coach of the
Naka was up for being shot in Bloemfontein last year, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
a couple of my mates are Cheetahs fans, and they had serious dislike for Naka last season, but
Yeah. No, that
no one's
Cup
been, no one's
campaign,
been
yeah.
saying much this year.
Yeah, well, good for him. Good for him. Next up, it has to be Alex Ferguson. Title 20 for Man United, 13 for him personally, and him by himself has the record of third most titles in the Premiership.
Have we nominated foreign candidates before?
We have, yeah. As we
we?
said, when we have these awards, this awards dinner, this glittering gala dinner, we'll send invites around the world.
Right.
If
So,
it'd be odd if they didn't come. But
Sir Fergie in the studio. Hey,
yeah,
it's going to happen.
we'll
Definitely
have
gonna
a sniff off between him and Blades. Put 5 whiskies down so you can get the best. So you agree on Salix?
happen. Yeah, I'll agree on. Yeah, you got to agree on Sir Alex, really.
Yeah. Anyone else bring to mind, Billy?
I hate to say, but I think Sir Alex might be above our Icon of the Week.
I doubt it hugely. I thought you were about to say he's above Naka.
It will be without doubt the greatest achievement of his life if he can secure our vote right now.
It's like Naka Drotsky or Alex Ferguson. I think I know where I'm going.
Yeah, okay.
He won't be satisfied until Alex Ferguson wins this award.
No, it's fine. You know what?
Sure.
Naka, when he gets the conference title, for their Cheetahs fans, I'm being nice. Okay, we'll give it to Naka when he gets silverware. Any silverware. Plasticware. Coach of the month. Okay, so Icon of the Week, Alex Ferguson. You can't deny what the guy has done for football in general, and of course, Manchester United. They just keep marching on. Which brings us into... Billy, we need to get some theme music for you, actually. I just don't know what we can have for Sport Willie that's not going to be completely tasteless.
What's that? Isn't there that song? Isn't it a Pearl Jam song called Shit List or something?
I don't know. I'll look out for it.
Okay, yeah.
It's from the Natural Born Killers soundtrack.
Yeah,
Good song.
yeah,
Good song.
that's
Wow.
it.
You guys are dark. Okay, Sport Billy, what we got for Sport Willies of the Week?
Okay, we've basically got two guys. Their exploits have been well covered on the show, but we can't leave them out due to that. But the first one is obviously Luis Suarez for his little
Yep.
his assault on Ivanovic, and I would hasten to add that they're better Ivanovic's to be trying to eat, and let's just leave it at that. But yeah, I mean, Suarez, if I had my way, I think I would vote him Sport Willie of the week in and week out. But
Yeah, he's definitely a Hall of Fame already.
yeah, no, he's Hall of Fame, and I think, you know, this week what I've done is I've put it up on the blog, Sport Willie of the Week, and I've got a face-off between Luis Suarez and Julian Sevilla, and you guys can go there and have your vote.
Yep, looking at it right now on sportbilly.co.za.
Yeah, that's the one. And yeah, basically, I mean, Sevilla, I think we're obviously, I mean, domestic violence is something that's been fairly common amongst New Zealand rugby players in the last 5 to 7 years. I mean, the list includes, remember Sione Luaki,
Yeah.
Spivatu, Adam. I don't want to name anyone that I shouldn't.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with this one.
I was going to say Adam Thompson, but yeah, I think Adam Thompson's in there as well. A couple of other guys whose name I can't pronounce that play for the Blues. But yeah, there's a long list. Stephen Bishop, ex-All Black, is also in there. So, I mean, yeah, it seems to be quite a common thing. But obviously, where Sevilla's taken it to a new level is appearing in the, as you mentioned, the Violence Is Not Our Game campaign last year. Which is fairly, just shows you if you're going to launch these campaigns, choose your face of your campaign wisely.
Yeah, it's like Michael Vick saying, "Be nice to dogs."
Yeah, exactly.
Animal rights. It's like Animal Vick going for Peter. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably got to play it safe with any of these sort of campaigns and choose Hashim Amla, because I don't think anything's going to stick to him.
Yeah,
I am
drive dry with this this word from Hashim Amla.
Yeah, exactly. Drive dry. You know, say no to violence. You know, go to the
say
library.
No to IPL.
Yeah.
Did you say go to the library, Billy? Wonderful campaign. Hashim Amla says go to the library.
But basically, whatever Hashim says goes. But anyway, going back to Sport Willie, I think Sevilla, in my book, he got my vote on the poll. But let's see how it turns out. It's a sort of tete-a-tete between Sevilla and Suarez this week.
Well, the thing is, Suarez repeat offender. We all know he's a complete douche.
Suarez also did this on the sports field as well, which
the thing is, I've got my theories about Suarez. I'm actually going to write a blog post about this and likening him to dog behavior, because let's be honest, it's a bit unrealistic. I think Sevilla, without signing to Sevilla, he takes it from me, actually. He's 22, he's got the world at his feet.
the act itself definitely
definitely
takes
again,
the cake. No question for me.
Look, it's one thing biting someone, you're just a peasant, but I think if you're ever harming a woman or a child or a dog, that doesn't stand with me. So he gets my vote as well.
Yeah. No, the act itself, no question. My point of view is just how we define the kind of sports willy of the week. You know what I mean? If the guy's doing it in his private home.
Well, he's in the world of sports. So I think
suppose we do. I suppose we do. Yeah, then in that sense, I got to say Sevilla too.
I mean, Kurtley, another Hall of Famer, Kurtley Bill.
Of course, so that wasn't on the sports field as well.
I just think Kurtley repels women too much for them to actually get into that mix. But I think otherwise he'd probably be in the same category.
Yeah, I think they stay out of the contact zone.
Yeah, exactly. Well, also because of his love triangle with Cooper Vuna and James O'Connor, I think girls also steer clear of him. Okay, so are we unanimous in this one? Sevilla take the Sport Willie of the week.
Yeah,
he's got my vote.
Okay, well, on that bombshell, we're going back to the theme of the show, for tunes that is, songs from my phone. It's a little one from Lonely Island, featuring Justin Timberlake.
I got something real important to give you.
My dick in a box, my dick in a box, my dick in a box.
Playing nothing but the hits here on BLOGZ on Ballz on Ballz.co.za. That brought a smile to Simon Hill, surprisingly never known of the Lonely Island. Simon, that was Lonely Island. There's some more songs on YouTube that will probably resonate well with you. There's one about something happening in your pants.
That track is nothing but genius.
That is nothing but the hits. Speaking of the hits, as you know, the Ballz.co.za is involved with the SA swimsuit competition. Now, this is a competition where 14 young ladies will be in the new SA Swimsuit magazine, which is basically a kind of follow-on from the SA Sports Illustrated swimwear magazine. So this week we have 3 contestants on the Ballz.co.za. If you vote for them, the girl with the most votes then gets the blog star, which then furthers her chances of progressing. So chaps, we've got 3 contestants. We've got Nadia, we have Chelsea, and we have got Donna. But yeah, no, you've looked at all 3.
Hold on, I'm just bringing it up here.
You weren't just googling Lonely Island, were you?
No. I was googling Simon Hill. I haven't heard from him for so long. Just wanted to see if he's still alright.
He's still relevant. Did you Google Simon Hill Jacaranda or just Simon Hill?
Yeah, Jacaranda didn't bring up many sites, but
okay. Well, if you are watching visually, you can actually go into the post now and we see the girls.
Okay, I got him.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, another tough one, but I would say Chelsea's probably.
Yeah, well, Donna was on our site last year as a balance girl, so naturally I think my allegiances are with her. ZA, and you can vote for that. I think our poll is currently down, obviously rammed with votes. Every week on a Monday, you'll get 3 new contestants from the SA Swimsuit magazine competition. If you go into saswimsuit.co.za, you'll find all the contestants. You can also enter if you want to as well, if you're an aspirant swimsuit model. But guys, enough about that. On to the big discussion this week. We had a little chat the 3 of us had a little chat last week, also yesterday, on the email. Basically talking about the discussion, as it always is. I send a mail to Sean and Billy, just how the show is going to go, the rigorous prep that I put in. Then they chime in with what's going to work, what's not going to work. Or in most cases, they just ignore me until Tuesday morning and they say, sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. So, Billy.
Monday afternoon, give us a bit of credit.
Yeah, I'll give you some credit.
You'll get slammed.
24 minutes past 5 in the afternoon on the way to gym. Yeah, okay. Look, don't like it, but okay. Billy, do you want to intro the topic?
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at, as suggested by the Ballz, the greatest acts of thuggery ever witnessed in sport, and obviously quite, everyone will remember certain ones, and then a couple of special ones that I managed to dig up.
Cool. Well, I think what always happens is this is your hour of the show. As you can tell, the music does change a little bit. So do you want to kick us off?
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll feel free to chime in with ones, and a couple of these were on your suggestion. But let's start off with, obviously this was all brought about by Suarez's escapades on the weekend, but I think we've spoken enough about him. So I'm going to kick off with, this is more to do with thuggery. I know we'll look at maybe a few other things a bit later, but my first one was Gary Pagel, Western Province versus France.
Good one, yeah.
So, who was the guy's name? I think it was Jean-Francois Tordo. I think
you're on the money there. I actually battled to remember that name, but
he was the captain. He had the long hair, the captain. Yeah. He looked a bit like a lion.
Well, sideshow Bobby, yeah.
Yeah, he went between hooker and flank. He was one of those guys. Yeah,
that's right. I think you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, he came over as captain and ended up getting 50 stitches and having his face surgically rebuilt after Gary Pagel went for the ball.
In literally the first minute of the game as well. I remember that.
That's right at the start. Yeah,
we're all showing our age all of a sudden here.
Yeah, I mean, Pagel faced 6 months ban, which in those days was quite a bit, considering Audrey Geldenhuys was playing quite a bit of rugby and and spent more time on the field than being banned. So yeah, I don't know. Did you guys watch that game?
I was at the Western Province game,
Gary Pagel one.
Yeah,
in '93. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, back in '93 when I was hanging out with my mates having a couple of beers.
No, I was there as a lighty. I watched that game. I remember that game. It was the first. It was our first full tour since back from isolation. The year before, Australia came for 1 test and New Zealand came for 1 test, but France came for the whole shebang. Well, a 2-test series and some tour matches thrown in.
Back when rugby was rugby, and men to men.
That was a huge fixture at the time. It was probably the biggest game I'd ever watched in my life.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, back when we used to get the games of countries against provinces.
Yeah, as opposed to now a sneaky little Barbarians of the North fixture or Barbarians of the South and midweek.
President's 15.
Ah, awful.
Yeah. So anyway, Pagel gets a special mention there. And next up, obviously, we have Johan Leroux, which was in '94 on his tour to New Zealand. We all know what happened there, and got hold of Fitzpatrick's ear, and during a scrum.
I am still angry about him for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the sort of worst part. Okay, I mean, he copped an 18-month ban, which is long, in terms of rugby bans go. But the quote that I found was what he said afterwards was, for an 18-month suspension, I feel I should have probably torn it off. Then at least I could say, look, I've returned to South Africa with a guy's ear.
I remember that. And he wrote an unreadable book about it. The guy tried to cash in with a autobiography.
Wow, Sean, your sporting savvy goes a long way here.
Yeah,
You should
I
see the
must say-
crap sports literature I read daily.
I mean, I reckon that book went straight to a craft market.
I would have been in CNA next to a couple of crosswords, and that's a weird, dodgy section. But what got me angry about that was in 1994.
Yeah.
And I reckon we'd always had a reputation beforehand of being, to the rest of the world, the Springboks have been known as quite a dirty bunch, quite frankly. But that incident was just so high profile on Sean Fitzpatrick, and again they have to choose the captain. Why is it always the captain that gets it? But that just really reinforced the stigma of us just being really a whole bunch of dirty guys, and it's a stigma that I really think the Springboks are still struggling to shirk off.
It also put a lot of heat on moustached men, and they've been battling to recover from that probably since then. I think this Movember thing is certainly bringing them back into the fore. But if you remember, Johan had a serious tash on him.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there
a
was no
styling
messing
mo.
around there. It was a cookie duster of note. Yep. Next up.
Yeah. Next up, this was one I remember the incident, but I didn't see the actual game. But Kevin Yates, Bath versus London Scottish in '98, also an ear biting. This one was quite special in that he actually, the guy that he bit was a guy called Simon Fenn, who played for London Scottish, and he had 25 stitches in his ear, and that just kind of puts it into perspective, because I can't imagine fitting 25 stitches in an ear, but yeah, anyway, it was pretty gruesome. There's a picture up on the blog of what Yates looked like afterwards.
Yeah, but just a reminder, if you are actually watching this visually, or if you are by the computer, obviously, just go on to sportbilly.co.za. You can actually see all these people we're talking about. So for some strange reason, if this guy doesn't ring any bells, Billy's post will inform you as he talks about it.
Yeah, so Kevin Yates. Anyway, that was 98. Then we sort of go back in time. Another guy that, he was always the Johan LaRue of New Zealand rugby for me, and that's Richard Lowe.
Absolutely.
Terrible piece of work. And you actually hear him on the airwaves sometimes during some of the Super Rugby games. But yeah, anyway, Dick Lowe, he got stuck into Paul Carozza. Remember the little Wallabies
the
winger?
Australian wing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, during a Betters like Cup match in '92. I think Carozza had just scored, and Lowe jumped on him and elbowed him in the face and pretty much shattered his nose. But the best was yet to come for Dick, as he would go on to eye gouge his All Black teammate.
That's right.
It wasn't while he was
That's
playing
right.
for All Blacks, but he was playing in the NPC final against Otago.
Yeah.
And Greg Cooper, who I think also he's got a bit of a beak on him. You also see him on the telly once in a while. He got an eye gouge from Richard Lowe. I'm sure they don't commentate on the same matches these days, but Lowe was banned for 26 weeks, and he was basically not selected for the All Blacks for 12 months as sort of payment for this.
It still came on in the World Cup final in '95, remember?
Yeah.
Chise, looking at these incidents between '92 and '94, such a
It
period
was
of
an
rugby.
uncertain
Hey?
time
Wow.
in sport right now. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, can you imagine what the TMO would have done in those days?
Well, I suppose
it's-
that's half the point, is that these things happen.
Is
They
that
don't
just-
happen that often with the TMO these days.
Billy, have we uncovered something quite amazing here on the show, that the TMO has actually stopped violence in rugby? Look at that.
No, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't. Go
Okay,
that
so going on from Dick Lowe.
Okay, then we obviously, we have to mention Roy Keane and his
Yeah,
tackle on Alf Ingo Haaland.
Sure.
Yes,
which ended the poor bugger's career.
He gets bonus points for how premeditated it was as well.
Yeah. Didn't he write about it in his book?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of the quotes, I didn't want to dwell too much on one incident, but some of the quotes in his book about this were horrendous. I mean, it shows you what type of person Keane is, and I would think that him and Suarez would probably have a good meal together at some stage. But yeah, I mean, basically, there's a little quote there that Keane said in an interview shortly afterwards, that even in the dressing room, I had no remorse. My attitude was, what goes around comes around. He got his just rewards. My attitude is an eye for an eye. I mean, you got to put it into perspective that Haaland's career was over after this, and there'd obviously been some history between the two, and as Sean says, it totally premeditated.
Yeah.
And it was said that Keane actually stood over him and said, "Gotcha," just after he had done it. Yeah, terrible piece of work.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But yeah, he was a hard man, and then he was the hard man. He went too far. Speaking of which, your next guy catches the eye instantly.
That's Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's we don't need to explain too much around that, but obviously biting into Hollywood's ear in the third round of a title fight, probably the most famous bite of all time. But as I said, I think Holyfield probably can count himself lucky that he got away with a bite when you consider that Tyson told Lennox Lewis he wanted to eat his children. So, yeah, I mean, listen, Tyson, it probably doesn't go down as badly as him appearing in The Hangover with a cat. But it certainly was a low point of his career, yeah.
Yes, I watched that Tyson fight when I was in England. I was an exchange student. I was 16. Happened in '97, I think. I was 16. I had to watch it, and they did pay-per-view in England for that fight. So all of us had to club together for like the boarding house to buy this fight for the right to see it, and then watch it in the middle of the night, only for Tyson to bite the guy's ear in the second round. And what happened?
Well, you witnessed an act of history there, Sean.
I did. I paid for it.
Okay, Billy, are we getting into the top three here, or have you got many?
Yeah, no. There are three more.
Okay, so we're in the top three now.
Yeah, well, I don't know if these are the tops, but they're certainly worth a shot. But maybe we can vote on the top three.
Okay,
but,
well, I just think we should take a song for this moment so we can actually dwell on this. Now, just go on to sportbilly.co.za so you can actually keep up to speed, because there's a lot of, I mean, there's some guys that I never even heard of, and I don't know how long it took you to get this list or what you've been Googling to find this list. But this morning we were discussing sport thuggery and the greatest acts of sport thuggery and the thugs involved. Obviously on the back of Suarez biting yet another person. Billy, you've got a tremendous list here on sportbilly.co.za, so we're going to come back with your top three. But first we're going to go back to the tunes for today, which is songs from my phone. This one is from the Gorillaz, Plastic Beach. Welcome back to Blogs on Balls, your best way to spend 2 hours every Tuesday morning, 10 until 12, with me at Follow the Bounce on Twitter, my co-anchor here, Sean Wilson, who is at simply Sean _ on Twitter, and then our second hour guest, none other than Sport Billy at Sport Billy Says on the Twitter. Billy, we're into the top three of sports' greatest acts of thuggery. Carry on.
Yeah, so I mean, these ones, we've got obviously old Eric Cantona and his double kick into that poor bugger sitting in row one.
Well, I've got to say, thuggery with a touch of artistry. There was a real panache to this one.
Well, Cantona always did things with style, didn't he? I mean, listen, you got to be fair to Eric. This guy had apparently thrown something at him, and there were rumors about racial abuse. I'm not sure how you racially abuse a Frenchman, but anyway. So he launched himself over the boards, as we all know, and was charged with assault. You know, I don't know if you guys were watching that. That was back in '95. Also, that danger period, the '92 to '95.
Yeah, that's all mid-90s.
'90s were hitting it. Yeah.
A lot of players revolting.
I remember that. That was hectic. The guy, Matthew Simmons was his name, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
He had a criminal history ahead of him. I remember it not being exactly the paragon of virtue. But just like, I remember reading Ferguson afterwards didn't know of the incident. Really, like Cantona got sent off. Ferguson was focusing on just how to organize 10 men playing, blah blah blah, and then he only found out when he got home. He kind of like poo-pooed the incident in the post-match interview. It's probably not that much. We'll see. And then he got home and he just said, "What has this guy done?"
It was quite something. Even back in those days when Sky wasn't breaking news every single minute, it actually was.
That's true, hey, because this was before the age. You turn to Sky Sports News now and it's unwatchable. You look at all the numbers scroll across the screen. You know, you got to hear about the Gillingham right back's calf muscle. But these days, it's just dominated every channel all the time.
So, Billy, is this list in any particular order? So that was in your mind the third biggest act of thuggery?
No order here.
Oh, okay.
Just we can maybe decide on our top three. But so obviously Cantona, you got to mention him in this. And then one of probably less known in South Africa, but certainly a guy I spent some time in Australia, and this guy's world famous over there. and that's John Hopiot, who against playing for the West Tigers against the North Queensland Cowboys caused a serious stink when he inserted his digit into 3 different North Queensland Cowboys' bottoms. Three of them, not just one. And there's a picture of him checking the oil on the blog. But I mean, the guy claimed that he was trying to give these guys wedgies,
Sure.
afterwards. But apparently there was something like 12 different camera angles, and I mean, there are pictures all over the internet of this guy who goes by the nickname of Chocolate Fingers. But he's also, also a terrible record. He's the most suspended player of the modern era in the NRL. And I mean, there are a lot
That'll
of
be a
suspensions.
very competitive category, yeah. Like,
Billy, was
For
this
sure.
was this not the same guy who got a little bit too friendly with an Alsatian a while ago?
No, different guy. But
Also, but an
Yeah.
actual guy in rugby league.
no,
Aussies.
same real life guy, not the guy that dogged the dog. But yeah, John Hopiot. He now works. I see that he was up on assault charges a couple of years ago. He went into the boxing thing, fought on a few undercards of Anthony Mundanes, as you do, and actually at one stage I think he was the Australian heavyweight champ. I'm not sure if he was allowed to. It's quite hard to use your fingers when you're wearing boxing gloves. So I'm not sure if he carried on with those sort of antics, but yeah, certainly a stinker of a story.
Okay, going on from that guy who that's just revolting.
No, hectic. And so anyway, this last guy, he kind of fits into the Eric Cantona school of thought, and that his abuse came of a fan. And I mean, you've got to watch this YouTube video. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it is incredible.
Maz, if I press play, will this work? I've got it in front of me. Okay, Billy, we're actually going to play it right here. Oh, it's a long one, huh?
No, it's too long.
it's
It's too long. It goes on for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. But it's an incident. That was dubbed Malice at the Palace. It was when the Detroit Pistons took on the Indiana Pacers. And basically, to summarize the video, there's a bit of pushing, and then the players sort of break out in a brawl. And this guy, Ron Artest, for some reason, I mean, it's one of those ones that you could do one of your questions on, He goes and he lies down on the official's table. And while he's lying there and the other players are brawling, some guy in the crowd who also happened to have a criminal record threw a bottle of beer or a cup of beer, and it smacked this guy. So now you've got this 7-foot NBA star who gets up off the table, hurdles the boards, and finds this fan in the stand and just starts beating the living daylights out of him. But the only problem being is that it was the wrong guy. He actually, he got hold of the wrong fan and assaulted him. But I mean, basically, after this whole incident, 9 players were suspended. 5 of them were charged with assault with the police, and 5 fans faced criminal charges because a couple of fans invaded the court, and I mean, you just got to watch the video to understand what went down. But I guess it's not so much Ron Artest's role in it. It's just the whole incident was certainly over the top and well dubbed as Malice at the Palace.
Right, well, should we get a little top 3 here? I think I'm going to say amongst all of us that John Hopiata, he's in there. He's in.
Are you fingering him as your best
I'm
choice?
definitely fingering him as a top 3 candidate.
Okay.
Sean, who's your favourite in there? Well, sorry, favourite's the wrong word.
yeah, please. I think. Ooh, man, some of these rugby boys are hard to differentiate between, to be honest. Keane's premeditated thing, like we were speaking of. I'm not sure. I think we might have even already found a winner. But to get the top 3 going, I think we've got to put Mike Tyson in.
Yeah,
Out
look,
of
we
all the
need something
biting
iconic.
incidents,
Yeah,
I think Tyson has to lead the way.
he
there.
did it best. He was the pioneer. He was the trendsetter. Like, I still think Gary Pagel, because the guy to actually have a face reconstruction. Yeah?
Yeah, that was pretty horrid.
No, it's terrible.
I would probably go. I think Roy Keane's premeditation.
Yeah.
Also, I agree with Sean there. That probably sets him apart because I don't think these other
Yeah,
guys
I know you're right.
planned these acts.
Well, I think Pagel. Well, no, actually, you're right.
I
Okay,
don't
so
think
Keane.
I don't think Pagel had any beef with Tordo until the game.
It wasn't so much
It's
beef
like-
with him. It was by making an impact in the game early on. It was a big game. Western Province are playing France. It was the start of the tour.
Yeah,
There's a lot riding
but,
on
but
that.
like, for instance, but like not to condone
No,
it or
like,
anything. That's just
it-
red mist clouding.
No,
the
you're
thing,
right.
and he
Probably
acted
wasn't malicious,
stupidly.
you're right,
Because
okay.
Keane's been planning this for months.
He was plotting
Years.
it. Okay.
It's,
So we got Fingers Huopiata, and then we've got Roy Keane. Who's our third? Tyson.
Yeah, Tyson. Got to be.
Okay, well you can get your own top three going there if you go on to sportbilly.co.za. Great piece, Billy. There's I think this will be quite well debated, and I think you'll find a few other things just popping up out in the darkness. That's the thing about when you have these top 10 or whatever in sport, you'll get somebody out of left field saying, "But what about this guy?" And then it's, "Oh yeah, that is actually how could we miss it?"
Yeah, I mean, already I'm thinking, obviously, the whole Andy Dalton story.
Yeah.
With who was it, Burger Geldenhuis. There was that. There was the. Do you
Well,
remember Quivers Visa and Derwin Jones?
I think anybody who laid a hand on Nas in his prime was also an act of thuggery that shouldn't go unnoticed.
Someone's tweeted us
Absolutely.
the Jonathan Callard incident, and I know he toured with England in '94 here. I think that might is that Landry van der Berg who did that?
Oh yeah, no, that
Ik
was
weet
yeah,
niet, Sean.
Yeah, I think that he might get a special mention as well, Landry van der Berg.
yeah. I think it was a Landra. Yeah, EP. I mean, I'm surprised Audrey Geldenhuis hasn't come up.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's not high profile enough. When we have these things in the past, if you're kind of down the bottom rungs of society and you do things, people don't really care. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
that's exactly why that guy who tackled the ref isn't in the list here. That was sporting thuggery to a certain degree. You don't tackle refs.
Pete Van Sale. It was such a weak tackle as well.
Well, I tell you what
Really
wasn't
bugged me
weak,
about
but it
the
was the PK he got from Richie McCaw straight afterwards.
tackle. Yeah, that was it. Just all the loose forwards pounding on it.
Okay, if you go into sportbilly.co.za, you can find this entire list and then explore some of these guys. Well, just like they did. Their thuggery. We're coming back with the fixtures for the weekend. Great sporting weekend ahead. You listen to Blogs on Balls. Just another slamming tune here on Blogs on Balls. Great theme today, Josh. Always cuts out when you want to say something. Well, into the final 30 minutes we go. And Billy's still with us?
Yeah, still here.
Okay, great. Well, seeing as we have a little bit of time, we had a plan today to be far more time efficient, and here we are with time to spare. Sasha is circling. Happy birthday for yesterday, Sash. 28. I must say, you're not looking great for your age, but still, 28's a good age. Billy, over the weekend the Sharks played rugby. Well, it looked like they played rugby.
Apparently the Cheetahs didn't.
Apparently the Cheetahs, yeah, there we
Yeah,
go. The Cheetahs
I'm
didn't
sure.
play rugby, but they still managed to win. Obviously being a passionate sports fan, more importantly a passionate Sharks fan. What are your thoughts at the moment with the Sharks? I mean, it's a bit of a concern with this lack of try scoring.
No, it's a massive concern. I mean, I know you touched on it earlier, but basically 3 tries that count because the 10 against the Rebels have been written off. You know, so that's 3 tries in 6 or 7 games. The Sharks still haven't scored a try this
Well, it'll
whole
be 7,
season. Yeah, they haven't scored a try after the 60-minute mark. So they basically don't score tries towards the end of a game, which is when you want to be, wrapping things up and winning the game. It's scary. Listen, you have to say there are a lot of injuries. There are 15 guys that are out injured at the moment. Ranging from your biggest stars like Beast and Bismarck to, able sort of support players like Dale Chadwick and guys like that. So, they have been battling. I think the lack of Willem Alberts is a big blow to them, and Bismarck obviously. But I mean that they still have got the depth. When you look at the team that's running out, they still should be competing, and they're just not.
Yeah, that's just it. It's just the level of the team sheet is still of a standard that should be.
Yeah.
But is it just a lack of adapting? Because obviously, you can't play a game plan when you haven't got your key players executing it.
Yeah, the big thing as well, Ben, is the guys that are left, the stars that are left, like your Kankowskis and Steyn, are horribly out of form.
Completely.
I mean, I don't know if you guys read, but on sarugbymag.co.za, there was an article where they reckon Franz Steyn weighed 118 kilos, at the end of last year after his op, and he had to lose 9 kilos in preseason, and he's still having to lose more. I mean, and they made the guy captain, like.
Yeah, it's becoming the Benny McCarthy of rugby here.
Yeah, I mean, something's not right there. I think
the pretty weepy of 2013.
The pretty weepy of the Sharks.
I reckon. I mean, I said it as John Smith was announced. I reckon he's going to be giving Jake White a few phone calls, because Plumtree, he's done some great things, and he's got the Sharks to a lot of finals. But I think people are starting to lose a bit of faith there, especially